Endowment for Middle East Truth, and American Friends of Likud, I would like to welcome you all to this private briefing. We have been witnessing a dangerous rise in terror attacks over the past several months, both in Israel as well as around the world. So-called lone wolf attacks are committed against innocent Israelis who are trying desperately to live peacefully in their homeland, and against innocent citizens in France, Belgium, England, and even here in the United States. While the world struggles to name the perpetrators or to correctly identify many of these acts as terrorism, it is incumbent upon us to recognize the practices, trends, and ideologies that are enabling the increase of violence, hate, and murder. We are honored to have with us here today some very special individuals who will speak about one aspect of terror that often goes unnoticed: the insidious treatment of women and children as tools of the terror regimes. Manipulated, educated to hate, and used as targets and human shields, this reality continues to be ignored by human rights and women's rights organizations around the globe. We hope that today we can shed an important light on this topic so that you can share the information and we can together find a way to stop this horrendous trend. As we begin a new Jewish year, may our hopes for sustainable peace be once again renewed. And with that, I'd like to call upon Sarah Stern.
Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Sarah Stern. I'm the founder and president of the Endowment for Middle East Truth. And it is my profound honor to be here today. I want to thank the American Friends of Likud and the Israel Forever Foundation. It's always wonderful when we partner together.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you guys doing this. I think this is a very important subject. One of the things that frustrates me as somebody who's engaged in these issues is seeing people in the media, seeing people in Europe try to draw moral equivalence between the state of Israel and those who want to do them harm, particularly Palestinian Arabs affiliated with not only Hamas but Fatah. And I think the more you look into this and the more you're there on the ground, and obviously here in Washington studying the issue, you see the disrespect for human life that many in the Palestinian Arab community have. When they send people to commit suicide attacks, those end up being people that they name schools after and name stadiums after, kind of like how we would treat a sports star or a movie star or a military hero. And when you see that, and you see that they pay salaries to the families of terrorists who are incarcerated, this is some group and folks who just do not believe in the value of human life. If you look at our Israeli friends, they end up taking more damage to their country because they appreciate human life. They are always worried about collateral damage, even when they're defending themselves, and they've invited, I think, more threats because they're so intent on living up to a higher standard. And so I think what this does is it shows us the depth to which some of Israel's enemies will sink by putting young children, and they incite these children at a very, very young age to hate Israel, to hate Jews, to hate Christians, and basically try to inculcate in them that jihad is really the way that they should take their lives. It shows you what Israel's up against. It shows you that there is no moral equivalency, but it also shows you that Israeli policymakers have a very difficult problems on their hands. Because how do you know if you just see some kid there, that kid has a suicide vest on or not? So these are very, very vexing problems. But I really appreciate the groups doing this because I think it will show that there's not a moral equivalence, and particularly people in Washington, that we need to stand with Israel in their fight against terror. Thank you.
Well, I mean, after hearing that, man, that's some really good words to say. You know, you just are kind of overwhelmed at the kindness of such introduction. And I will just tell you that it is mutual in my heart, my affection for Sarah Stern, my respect for her. She is, without a doubt, one of the most credible voice on Capitol Hill when it comes to the relationship between America and Israel, because she feels these things from her soul, and she just has love of humanity, and I just don't know enough good things to say about it. So there's such a great admiration on my part for her. And I want to welcome the members of the convention here. It's very wonderful that you're here. We got looking around here, there's a total of 3 here? Just one. I'm sorry, you got a spouse. But we're very, very glad to have you here. And these are significant days, and I think that it is important for us to realize that when you find yourself surrounded by danger, that you coalesce with the people you trust most. Now, on the national scene, there is no greater partnership and brotherhood among nations than that between America and Israel. And I pray that we draw together in these challenging times rather than to allow ourselves to have wedges driven between us by sometimes our own national leadership. I want to be, if I can, and I'm always having to ask diplomat in New York, but I want to say that sometimes in the American Congress, it hurts me that my president has not been more forthright and clear when it comes to America's commitment to Israel, when he has been sort of someone that's willing to call Israel down, write letters during MOU negotiations. In my judgment, I found was an effort to humiliate Israel. And I would just tell you that among the members of Congress who are committed to Israel's peace and safety, when Israel comes to us for help, we're going to be there regardless of any nonsensical letter that the president forces them to be written. And I don't say that the right way because I know that we got some good things on the MOU. But let me quickly touch on one thing. This title of this book, I just think this puts it all in perspective for all of us. Smart or wrong. The word smart there, it could be insidious. It's not better. She got this right. I mean, it says so much in that one word. Because it shows the kind of mindset that Israel does against. It shows that, the intent that is behind the jihadist hatred of Israel. And, ladies and gentlemen, there are only 2 components in human threat. I say this everywhere I go because I think it's so important for us to fundamentally understand that there's intent and capacity. This shows intent. When someone is willing to send women and children, sometimes their own women and children, over into a group of opponents so they can blow themselves to pieces to kill the opponents of the children of their opponents. That is intent. That is an insidious, dangerous mindset that is formidable beyond our ability to truly comprehend if we have any humanitarian impulse attention. And consequently, it becomes very important for us to not only recognize this intent, but to make sure that it does not have the capacity to see its intent fulfilled. And right now, Iran is on the road to a capacity that could destroy Israel. There are efforts on the part of Iran to do some things that could directly threaten major components of peace and security in the United States of America. And so I just say to you that our partnership with Israel and our understanding of this together, and Israel understands it better than anyone in the world, is more important than it's ever been. And I just think that groups like the event are more important. They come for such a time as this. We hear it all the time. But it is true. Sarah and the people at the event have a message that is more profound and relevant now than it's ever been. And I pray that we continue to hold together. And I hope that one day that neither Hezbollah, Hamas, or any of these people will have this hatred in their hearts that would damn their children or their wife or their sister to wear a suicide bomber into the midst of Israelis or people that have no hatred for them, simply want to live in peace. And I'm praying that we continue to hold together to that end. And I believe that day will come. and we have historical precedents. Israel has continued to hold together in spite of the worst of circumstances for thousands of years. Their enemies are gone, and they are still here. One day, I'm always understanding, one day jihad will get an ugly end. But the people of Israel will.
On September 13th, 1993, when Yasser Arafat signed the Oslo Accords with Yitzhak Rabin, many people in the international community rejoiced. However, from that very moment on, Yasser Arafat has never ceased, and or successor rather, Abu Mazen has never ceased to totally marinate his people's brains in hatred, in incitement, in violence, in hatred of the Jew, of the Israeli, of the Christian, of the other, and they used every means possible. The schools, the summer camps, the textbooks, the media, shows for little children, and they extol the virtue of the Shahid, the martyr. They say that all of Israel is Palestine, and they basically teach their children that the most virtuous thing they could possibly do in their lives is to blow themselves up or to kill themselves now in a knifing attack, which is the most horrific sort of child abuse that's imaginable. Alphonse Hecht was a historian who from a very early age was indoctrinated into the Hitler Youth. And he himself has said it is absolutely correct to say that if you can't learn from the events, and if you do not study Nazi Germany, you will not be able to grasp the true intention of the radical Muslim world today. You're simply hiding. The idea that radical Muslims have and that Nazis had in common is to demonize all Jews. They just turned them into absolute demons. This is exactly what happened to my mind in Germany. Can you imagine? We were so-called an enlightened people and we fell for all this. Why shouldn't Muslims fall for this? He added, quote, "This is a great crime that the Muslims are committing to their own children. Hitler robbed us of our youth, but what the radical Muslims are doing to their own children is actually